The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power. Their new iPhone app is simpler than a Tim Sherwood Team Talk, so download it now.
Hello there, a warm welcome on this very cold winter's day to the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm pleased to be joined in the studio by Dan Childs and Mark Langdon, two of the shrewdest football forecasters in the game. And we've also got from Paddy Power, their maestro odds compiler and delighted Blackburn fan, Ed Quigley. And by the way, I will just quickly clear something up because someone came on to me recently and said, I love the postcast, but I get really confused. Is the Ed Quigley who appears on the football ones the same guy who does Long Shot Ted in the Racing Post? No, it's not. There are actually two Ed Quigleys. So we haven't got the guy who always tips up big price jump sources for Cheltenham's success. We've got the one who supports Blackburn, creates prices for Paddy Power, and is a very shrewd nut as well. Welcome along, chaps. Let's get stuck in before we look at the weekend's action to the 6 questions. The lads get 2 each and then get to answer the one they wish they'd been asked. Nice and simple this week, Mark. Who is going to win the League Cup? Before you answer, Ed, could you oblige us with a show of betting?
Yeah, so Man United are gone into fabs after last night. They're now 6-5. Liverpool are 6-4. Southampton 13-2, and Hull are 12-1.
Where's the value, Mark?
I still think Liverpool because as far as that game against, Manchester United, I think should be in the final, but Liverpool, I think, will beat Southampton over 2 legs. I think Klopp will pick his best team once it gets to this stage, and I'm not so sure that Southampton are going to. I think they will still do sort of mix and match, could be, because they've got the Europa League.
Yeah, their fixture backlog's building up.
Yeah,
isn't
it really is. They drew 0-0 recently in the Premier League, but Liverpool battered them at St Mary's, and Southampton just defended with 11 men for the whole game. But I can also see why people would say Manchester United, because it does look like they've got a bye through to the final. But
when are the semis? In January?
Yeah, it's in January, so it is a hectic period for the two teams. I just think that once we get to Wembley, I'd rather be on Liverpool than Manchester United.
Is there also half a chance that Liverpool have bought the rest of the Southampton players that they haven't got before?
Yeah,
there's talk about Van Dijk going somewhere, isn't there?
Well, was it that Josh Sims had a good day?
Yeah, quite. They'll have him, won't they?
Yeah, they will. I can't see Southampton selling in January. They're a very well-run club, and they'll wait till the summer, I would have thought.
OK, so Liverpool for Mark. Dan Childs, Gareth Southgate has been appointed England manager. When will England be eliminated in the 2018 World Cup? We don't need the exact date, but just which round, do you think?
Probably the most likely, the round of 16. I think normally, given England's standing and the quality of the players, I would say that an average performance would be maybe last 16, maybe gets to last 8 in a really good time, maybe even push for the semis. But I don't think they've got the right manager. So
no, what don't you like about Southgate?
No, I just think
he hasn't really got much experience.
No, I think it's a very
unambitious
appointment. I don't understand why they've had to make a decision at this time as well. I mean, the next game's not until late March, is a friendly against Germany. I mean, why not just give yourself a little bit more time, see who's available at the end of the season? Maybe Arsene Wenger, he's mentioned that he could be interested. So I think it's just an unambitious appointment, and I don't see England doing any better than their kind of average performance.
Fair enough. What price are England for the World Cup?
They're 33-1, Bruce.
33. Are you best price, or is that pretty much industry standard?
I think we're best priced there at the minute. Yeah, we actually did a boost yesterday for an hour. We went on the back of the Southgate confirmation of him being appointed. We boosted England, or pushed him out to 100-1, because we've no faith in Southgate at all. He was an average under 21 coach, and he was very poor at Middlesbrough as well back in the day.
Okie doke. Ed, one for you. A subject close to my heart. Where will Crystal Palace finish this season?
I would say Crystal Palace. I don't think they'll get relegated at all now, to be honest. Palace are 9-2 there currently for relegation. I'd say they'll finish around 15th, 16th. I think I was just saying off air to you there, there's a lot of talk that Pardew's going to get the bullet soon. I think he's like 5 to 6 to get the bullet next. And there's rumours going around that Allardyce is the man being lined up. So if that's the case, if they were to appoint Allardyce, you can almost guarantee they're safe anyway. So yeah, I would have thought 14th, 15th kind of thing.
OK, I'm quite comforted by that, because a very good judge, a guy we know very well, Alex Deacon, who's got his own set of numbers, and he thinks 9-2 Palace is an absolutely enormous price. So I needed a bit of reassurance there. Mark Langdon, what's the best Premier League kit, home or away, that you've seen this season?
That's That's a tough one, Bruce. That one. Quite like the Man City. Have they got like an Illuminous one? Is that
The bright yellow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why didn't they wear that at Burnley?
Probably.
Why on earth did they not wear it?
May clash with the sun, maybe.
Well, that's true. That was impossible to watch that game, wasn't it? A, they had the same coloured kits. B, the sun was shining in her faces. And C, the camera at Burnley, I thought the one at Tottenham was high.
Yeah, oh no, but the Spurs one's changed now. It's not quite so bad. But I know you don't like a kit clash. Did you see the Milan derby?
Yes, I did. It was absolutely
you could barely see it.
That was the worst one ever, wasn't it?
Dark red and black against dark blue and black.
It does my head in. So you like the stewards?
Yeah, I mean my eyes are not the best, and so
you've got the bins now, haven't you?
I do. I wear them for driving, yeah, or to sort of when I'm sat in the office trying to watch the TV because they're a bit further away. So it's always nice to have a nice bright colour that I can see. So
luminous yellow. Yeah, third kit. Man City. Yeah,
Peterborough, I think, is changing it, though, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the stewards. Yeah, it was good. That wasn't it, Chardsy? Second round of the FA Cup's not that exciting for most of us, but it is exciting in so much as we get the third round draw, don't we? Which I think, do they show that on Planet Earth or the One Show or something, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's just an absolute insult. But anyway, so we've got to wait till Monday. We've got to watch some snippet about a hedgehog sanctuary, and then finally we'll find out who draws who. Who do you want Tottenham to draw in the FA Cup?
Probably Curzon Ashton at home, something like that. Because no, you just. I mean, it's the one competition now as a Spurs fan. You just want us to try and win something, and
so you don't. I
suppose only the Europa League is a possibility still, but no, you just want to go as far as you can in the competition before you have to meet the really big teams. So,
okay, fair enough. So a nice easy home draw. You just want to get through.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, Ed Quigley. Question for you. If you had to pick a Premier League player, bear in mind we're talking here on December the 1st, a Premier League player who gets an advent calendar and opens it diligently every day, who would you go for, do you think?
Oh, Jesus.
Who could you think of who would really, really like it and, probably someone like that kid Woodburn at Liverpool.
He's probably
he's
that
sort of age, isn't he? But
himself and Trent Alexander-Arnold could share it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone who's really organised. I don't know. Like, I think I said Milner for a dog walk.
Yeah, you can't have Milner. We're betting without James Milner.
Betting without Milner. I don't know. I'm just trying to think now. How about football managers, maybe? No?
You can have a manager, yeah. Name a manager. Do you use one, Dan? Do you have an advent calendar?
Claudio Ranieri, maybe?
Claudio Ranieri, I quite like that. I can have Ranieri. Maybe a Leicester-themed advent calendar. Perhaps Beryl from the club shop gave him that. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's not a bad shout at all. Do you have an advent calendar, Mark?
No,
you don't.
No,
the kids do.
The kids have got. I think they've got 3 or 4 each. So they were tucking in this.
I've got to tell you this, right? Surreally and brilliantly, just before I came in here to do this, I opened up a package and it was an advent calendar from Jilly Cooper. Don't you think that's brilliant? You don't get that through the post every. It's normally stuff about how crap the Racing Post is and how useless on my column is. I got an advent calendar from Jilly Cooper, so I was very pleased with that. Right, Mark, which one do you want to tackle?
I mean, I'd take the World Cup question. Obviously, the draw is hugely important in these things. Apparently, England are doing terrible for their rankings by keep on picking these hard friendlies, and it's where Wales did so well. Where Wales did so well in sort of boosting their rankings by not playing. Sometimes not playing helps you. England always play these friendlies for financial reasons. They nearly always pick hard matches, and they're obviously their record in it is not the best. So I mean, I think you're probably looking. I mean, I wouldn't have thought a group exit because that you do get a lot of poor teams at a World Cup. But I agree with Dan. I think. Obviously we are betting without the draw, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finished second in their group, then ended up with a hard last 16 games. So I think last 16's the shout.
We've seen that movie before, haven't we? Are you actually betting at this stage on England's point of elimination, Ed, or is it a bit too early for all that sort of stuff?
No, it's a bit too early. I'd say about a year and a half too early at the minute. But,
Right, okay, very quickly, Dan and Mark, I want you to get your heads together and just fire out the name of the England starting 11 for the first game. You can do the goalie. Who'll be the goalie?
It would still be Joe Hart, I think.
Well, I think it'd be Buckland.
Yeah.
No, Butland, not Buckland. There's no Buckland. Who'll be the back four, Mark?
It'll be Rose at left back, Walker at right back, Stones as one of the centre backs. I'm gonna go for Phil Jones as the other centre back. I've got a feeling Mourinho likes him. Just got a feeling if he stays injury free, he could yet force his way back in. Bit of a forgotten man. I mean, I don't want to
blimey,
go.
right.
I don't want to go completely boring and just say the usual
Cahill.
team. So,
Yeah, good.
I'll go
don't be boring.
Jones.
Right, 3 midfielders.
Probably Henderson and Dyer as your defensive-minded. Dele Alli as the attacking one.
Okay, and you can do the forward and the 2 flankers.
I think he'll go.
Never call people flankers
No,
anymore,
they don't. Because it sounds a bit too close to another word, doesn't it? Raheem Sterling on one side. Harry Kane will be up front, and I think it will be...
No, it can't be Wilf anymore, can it?
It wouldn't be Wilf anyway. Jesse Lingard is very much he's very much a Southgate favourite. Southgate absolutely loves him. Picked him for the under-21s.
Sickening.
Already picked him a couple of times.
Absolutely ludicrous. Okay, Dan, I can't even talk about that anymore. It's too depressing. Dan, which question are you going to answer?
I'll go for the League Cup one. I think the 2 bits of value. I think Man United, like as Mark's just mentioned, that it's really almost like a buy into the final. I can't see how they're not going to beat Hull over 2 legs. I actually think Southampton are a value to get to the final as well. I think in January, Europa League will be out the way, so they can focus on it a little bit more. And Liverpool without Coutinho as well, looks like he won't be available till a bit into 2017. So I think Southampton will give him a tough game.
My favourite bit about that answer was that you said, as Mark mentioned. It's almost mandatory now to say, as Mark alluded to. So well done for that. You brought back a good old word like mentioned. Ed Quigley, which one do you want to answer?
Yeah, I'll take the League Cup as well.
Okay.
I mean, I'm on Liverpool since the start, but if I was to have a bet now, I think I'd be backing United. I mean, obviously with the lineup they fielded last night, Mourinho's taking it very serious. I would say the most serious out of all those teams left. Liverpool, Klopp's been complaining about fixture congestion already around Christmas time, so he might make a lot of changes for the first leg anyway of the game against Southampton, and that's away at Southampton. They're home for the second leg. Coutinho will be back for the second leg if they are to select him, but I'd be backing United now if I was to have a bet. Yeah, all right.
Righty-ho. Thank you very much indeed, chaps. I think that does us for that. Let's get stuck into the Saturday games in just a mo.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. Bet £20 on either team to win in the Everton v Man U match this weekend and get a £5 free bet for every goal they score. Not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back. Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, Dan Childs and Ed Quigley from Paddy Power are looking ahead to 2 Saturday live Premier League games, and the first is absolutely the biggest. Could be the biggest game of the season, could be the most important in deciding the destiny of the Premier League. It's at 12:30, Manchester City versus resurgent Chelsea. Man City are obviously favs because they're at home. Just tell us how short they are, please, Ed.
They're currently 11-10. The draw is 5-2, and Chelsea are also 5-2.
You need to have a clothes peg on your nose when you look at that 11-10 Man City. As far as I'm concerned, I could not touch that with a barge pole. We'll come back to you after the lads have had their say, Ed, for your verdict. Dan Childs, take it away.
Manchester City.
You fancy
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think once you factor in home advantage, they're actually, those prices are saying that there's not really much of a difference between the teams. I think there is. I think that Man City, in a one-off basis, in a big game, have showed against Barcelona, showed away to Manchester United when they're really focused. They've not got Champions League distractions now to worry about. They can just pick the best 11. And I think they'll press Chelsea, and Chelsea have shown on a few occasions that they don't like being pressed so much. You think about I know the defeats against Arsenal, against Liverpool before we went to this back three, but Spurs did it as well at the weekend.
Spurs played really well against them,
well,
didn't they,
and I thought, two sides to that. Spurs played well, but I thought Chelsea struggled to handle the Spurs press as well. And I think City will do the same thing, and I think they'll be a little bit more successful with it over 90 minutes.
You think City will try and overload them in midfield again and put?
Yeah, and I think that they're a little bit less reliant on a couple of players. I mean, Chelsea rely a lot on Costa and Hazard to do all of their threat in the final third. I mean, I look at Manchester City. You've got Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling having a good season, Silva as well. So they've got more varied attacking threats for me.
Okay, Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I was very surprised to see odds against Manchester City for this game. I mean, as Dan alluded to there.
Yeah, he did allude.
I can't see how Chelsea are almost as good as Manchester City. I think if you don't like City to win this game, you've got to back Chelsea to win the Premier League, because I mean you're basically saying they're as good as Manchester City.
I'll tell you what I'd say, Mark. I'm not saying they're as good, but I'd say they'd be more consistent. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think they'll throw those points away like City do.
I mean, I think City have chucked away a lot of silly points, but I mean, in most of those games, they've played pretty well. I mean, they've just defensive, the odd mistake from Stones, That was against Southampton, wasn't it? Against Middlesbrough, it's last gasp. Against Everton, they've missed 2 penalties in a game that they absolutely dominated. I would be concerned for Chelsea watching that game against Tottenham, how overrun they were in midfield, because nobody overloads the midfield like Guardiola does. Yeah. So, I mean, what are Chelsea going to do?
Can he tweak that system there at all?
Well, no, I think not really. I think the best way to do it is what he did in the second half and get the wing backs higher up, because that gives you more cover in that midfield. But if you do that, you do leave yourself open. It's a risky strategy to play away to City. You could drop Pedro maybe and put another an Oscar or a Willian off. So if he does that, I'd be slightly more concerned for the City bet. But I do think that. You're not going to get many opportunities to back Man City odds against at home.
It's a fascinating tactical battle, this. And do you think Yaya will play for City?
No,
I'll tell you what, I know he scored a couple against us, but I watched him quite closely against Burnley. It's almost astonishing how slow and lumbering and ineffective he is now.
It'll be, I would have thought, Fernandinho.
Fernando.
No, I think it'll go Fernandinho, De Bruyne and Silva, definitely. Gundogan could come into that one as well, and Sterling. I mean, I think he really will just pack that midfield, and I think Chelsea will struggle with that. Yeah.
Okay, Eddie Quigley, what do you think will happen here?
Yeah, I'd agree with both the lads there. Like City aren't firing per se yet, as they were at the start of the season, maybe, but they're still only a point off the pace in the Premier League standings. The angle I'd probably go for is they have conceded in 6 out of 7 of their Premier League games at home, and Chelsea have scored in all of theirs away. And I really fancy City to win, and both teams to score 11-4. And I just think Spurs did, from what I actually didn't see the game last weekend, but I heard Spurs did dominate large parts of that game at the Bridge. And teams are starting to adapt to this 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1 or whatever it is at the minute. I think teams will start cottoning on to that the formation change there, and I fancy City this weekend.
Righto, producer Jack, we're going to have to try and find a way of editing out that bit where I said 11-10 Man City was a bad price. We'll suffer that one.
I think there's an argument, just quickly, to say that, as you was mentioning about consistency, that you could make a case that Chelsea are a good bet for the league, because they probably will take care of the lesser teams better, and City in the big games might produce their best in the big games.
That was very kind of you, Dan, to try and make me feel a little bit better. 5:30, West Ham versus Arsenal. Obviously, both teams had a Rumbelows Cup shock in the week. West Ham obviously not having a great time this season. Arsenal, you couldn't say they've been playing fantastically well lately. So, a conundrum for the bookies. And what set of prices have Paddy Power decided to put out on this one, Ed?
Yeah, so West Ham are 18-5, the draw is 14-5, and Arsenal are 3-4.
Okay, go on. Yeah, we'll stick with you, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously West Ham got thumped again last night. I think they look absolutely hapless at the minute. And they also they lost Cresswell and Mikel Antonio during that game too, and they're possibly out for the week for this game as well. And Sacco got injured as well earlier on in the week. So by default, it almost looks like it's going to be Zaza up top. I mean, yeah, I think Arsenal's away form's been pretty impressive, albeit against Watford, Hull and Sunderland, that they've beaten away from home impressively. And I think I'd fancy Arsenal to win 2-0 here at 12-5.
What would you fancy, Dan?
I fancy Arsenal as well. Yes, I think there was 2 different approaches, weren't there, to the EFL Cup. Arsenal, I don't know whether they thought they could get away with that with a team they picked against Southampton. Arsene Wenger picked against Southampton, or he was just picking that because he was more interested in the Premier League, but left all of his key players out, like Ozil and Sanchez and other key players, and I think he was just focused on the match at West Ham. West Ham did the opposite, picked their big players, and as has been mentioned, they've lost a few of them as well. Antonio is a huge loss, one of their 2 main attacking threats, along with Payet. And Cresswell was a big loss as well. Masuaku looks unconvincing whenever I see him play. I just think that 3-4 is not a bad price for Arsenal.
Just a straight Arsenal bet, yeah? Fair enough. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree with that. I mean, Payet is... he didn't put in... He shouldn't be tired anyway.
Is he down tools?
Well, he looked like he down tools at Old Trafford, that's for sure. I mean, I think he's probably frustrated. He had a great Euros. He's been linked... with Europe's biggest clubs. I think West Ham were hoping to kick on this season. The signings have mainly been terrible. I mean, how they got out of Old Trafford with a 1-1 draw in the Premier League game, and Randolph has kept it in it. I think Arsenal will win. You probably want to keep it pretty sensible in the first goal scorer market as well. I mean, Sanchez has he has been scoring plenty of goals, hasn't he? But no, I'll go with Arsenal as well.
The lads all agree Arsenal will win, and Ed is going to be bold enough to take on the Arsenal to win to 0 option. OK, let's get everybody's... I know, I'll tell you what we'll do. Before we get this best bets, 5:15 on Saturday, there's a little game in Spain which will spark a bit of interest. Barcelona versus Real Madrid, kicking off at 5:15. Mark, does that 5:15 kick off?
3:15.
3:15?
Yeah, we can't watch it.
Oh my goodness.
You can watch it on the on the streaming. But
Is that right, Ed?
Yeah, that's right.
You're streaming it, are you?
We have it available on site live or right on streaming on paddypower.com.
Oh, God, I don't know what to do now. I'm supposed to be going to Carlisle v Rochdale on Saturday, but that's some choice, isn't it? Carlisle
take your streaming device and watch it there. Watch it on your mobile. Watch it on Paddy Power.
I think it's going to be quite cold up there, and I'd have to have my gloved hand out of my pocket. I'm not sure if I fancy that. OK, well, anyway, Barcelona v Real, 3:15, so that's going to hit attendances everywhere. It's going to be a real humdinger of a game. How'd you bet, Ed?
Yeah, Barcelona were opened up at 8-11, but they've now drifted on the back of that Sociedad performance last weekend. They're now 17-20. The draw is 14-5, and Real are 3-1.
What do you think will happen, Ed?
Yeah, like I fancy Real here. Like I watched that game against Sociedad, with the Barcelona game last weekend, and they should have lost.
They were terrible, weren't they? I backed Sociedad at 6-1. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, like they only 47% possession, which is incredible considering it's Barcelona. I think it's their lowest ever under Enrique anyway. Real, on the other hand, then are kind of consistently winning, and they're without playing brilliantly, though it has to be said. I actually really fancy Real for the Liga 4-7. I know it's a short price, but I'd stick it in your Acas. Atleti are apparently... They're downing tools in La Liga. Apparently, they're going all out for the Champions League this season.
Well, your colleague Sean O'Sullivan says they're a huge price for that. Not with you, but with your rival firm.
Yeah, no, we've all backed Atletico on the trading or the football team now at this stage. Like, all had big bets on him. Like, and Casemiro is also could be in contention to come back for Madrid too. Like, he was a huge. Addition to Zidane last year. He brought him into the team, and
so you just going Real 3-1, or are you going to mess about with a derivative price?
Yeah, like I'm going to back. I'd say Real 3-1, and I'll also say Real switched to a 4-4-2 against Atletico in the away game a few weeks ago. And if that's the case, I'd be backing Ronaldo 5-1 as well, first goal scorer.
Dan?
I think it'll be close. I think the draw is it stands out to me. It's 14-5. I look at last few 5 years, the very, very even fixture. The La Liga, Barcelona home to Real Madrid, 2 wins for Barca, 2 for Real, 1 draw. I mean, people talk about Messi and Ronaldo a lot, but in the last few weeks, they really are dominating the scoring for both sides. Ronaldo's got the last 5 goals for Real Madrid. Messi's got 10 in the last 14 for Barcelona. So it looks like a real head-to-head shootout. Because Messi's in such great form, I can understand Barcelona being favourites, home advantage as well. And don't forget Real, people talking about Barcelona not playing well. Real laboured to a 2-1 victory at home to Sporting Gijón in their last game as well. So
okay.
I think a tight game.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I quite like Messi in the goal scorer markets here, just because Dan's mentioned he's playing well. Neymar,
he's scoring loads of goals. Do you think he's playing well?
No. Well, Barcelona are not playing that well, which is probably the individual shines brightest when the team ethic's right, and that's not right at the moment. So,
and what's causing Barcelona not to play well? They've got the same 3 stars up front.
Well, it's the midfield.
But Rakitic and Busquets are still there. Is it Iniesta's decline that's causing it?
Rakitic hasn't played that well this season. Busquets is being... Ed mentioned the possession there. They're playing it a little bit longer and a bit quicker up to the front 3. So Busquets is been limited in what he can do. And Iniesta... they haven't found the right replacement for him, and I think that that's something they're going to need to do because age is catching up with him as well as the injuries. But Neymar's not scoring as much, and Messi's the one for Barcelona, so I'll go for Messi. In terms of Real Madrid, did you see that their shirts went see-through the other day against Sporting Gijón, and their shorts as well? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was that they use like some.
Ronaldo would have done that on purpose.
Ronaldo looked a lot happier.
He would have done that on purpose.
I mean, it looked better on say Ronaldo than what it would Wayne Rooney, for instance.
Yeah.
It's that they were using some recycling gear for their kit, and obviously they all white, and it absolutely poured down.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I did not see that. That's interesting. Let's hope it rains on Saturday then. Take it away, Steve Palmer.
This will not be beaten.
I'll go first. I went with Borough last week, 130, last-minute heartbreak. I'm going to stick with them, a much shorter price, but a much better betting proposition to a game we will be coming to in more detail in a moment. But Borough 8-11 against Hull for me. Who for you, Dan?
Derby in the Championship for me, away to Wigan. Wigan got their first win under Joyce on Monday, won at Huddersfield.
Joyce? They got some under tea lady taking over. How did she get on?
His first name's escaped.
Warren Joyce.
Warren Joyce,
Right,
the ex Man United reserve team manager. But no, Derby have won 4 in a row in the Championship, playing really well, and I think Wigan's revival will be short-lived.
Okay.
Best games don't always produce the best bets. I think it does this weekend. Manchester City.
Okay, a Man City for Mark, and who for you, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Lyon away at Metz at 8-11. They're starting to fire. They banged in 6 last night. Lacazette scoring goals for fun. They're playing a Metz team that's conceded the most goals in French League One as well. And they're really poor at home. And yeah, fancy Lyon strongly here.
Middlesbrough, Derby, Manchester City and Lyon. Let's see if we can get the 4-timer up this week. Right, back in a mo with the Sunday games.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. Bet £20 on either team to win in the Everton v Man U match this weekend and get a £5 free bet for every goal they score. Not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleware.co.uk.
Hi there, welcome along. Bruce Millington, Dan Childs, Mark Langdon, and from Paddy Power, Ed Quigley are looking ahead to 2 live Sunday Premier League games. 1:30 Bournemouth versus Liverpool. This should be good, Dan, shouldn't it? Who do you fancy?
I think Bournemouth might get a result here. I love the way they play. They're really bold and brave against the big teams. They've not actually got many results against the big teams yet, but I think it's coming. They did get a draw at home to Spurs earlier in the season. I've been impressed with them. Although they lost at 3-1 at Arsenal, I thought they played really well. Wilson's pace caused Arsenal a lot of problems. I think he'll cause Liverpool problems at the back as well. Coutinho is such a massive player for Liverpool as well. They've got plenty of other good players, but Lallana's been injured recently, and Firmino. They might come back, but I think Bournemouth will give them a good game. Got Wilshere coming back as well, was ineligible at Arsenal, and I think odds against Bournemouth not to lose is worth taking.
Bournemouth on the double chance for Dan Childs. Who for Mark Langdon?
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with Dan on the double chance shout. I mean, the prices are about right, I think, but just with Coutinho being out, it may just be very difficult for Liverpool to open them up because they just haven't got another player that can do that, really. Because if you put Firmino in that position, you're then asking somebody else to play up front. I mean, Sturridge, it seems out of favour.
Origi deserve a bit of a chance.
Yeah, I mean he does, but I mean I still think he's below he's below that standard that Liverpool are aiming to be in terms of being champions. And so that could be an issue. And in midfield, if Lallana's not fully fit, I think we've seen they don't function quite as well. And teams are starting to work Liverpool out in as much as, Southampton kept the clean sheet, Sunderland kept it clean for a long while at Anfield as well. And, that Liverpool are going to have to come up with ways of winning now when teams show them ultimate respect. And I think Bournemouth are becoming slightly more respectful to some of these bigger teams. I spoke to somebody who went to the Stoke game the other week and said, they've changed, a bit filthy in the tackle, time wasting, so that they're learning.
Let me ask you this, Mark, about Liverpool. Do you think there's half a chance? Because they play at this absurdly high tempo, don't they? Both in and out of possession. Do you think they actually they're almost running out of petrol a little bit?
No, I wouldn't say that yet. I mean, it may become a problem, particularly the period we're about to have, over Christmas. I can understand why Klopp's slightly anxious about that. I don't think that's
a new test for him, that, isn't it? Managing over a Christmas period.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, last season, Liverpool, he was just feeling his way with Liverpool, really. This time they are going for the title. What I would say is, though, their defence is improving by the fact that teams are so scared of playing them because, teams don't want to leave themselves vulnerable to that brilliant counter-attack they've got. So I can see this being a low-scoring game, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if this was under 2.5. So, I'd lay Liverpool and maybe the unders.
OK, Ed, how are you betting on this and who do you think will win?
Yeah, Bournemouth at 4-1, the draw is 3-1, and Liverpool at 4-6. Yeah, I actually disagree with both the lads there. I fancy Liverpool here. I mean, Bournemouth have scored in all their home games except against Spurs, and Spurs have the joint tightest defence along with Chelsea in the Premier League so far. Liverpool, as we know, score a truckload of goals and concede a few as well while they're at it. So yeah, I'm going to go with a tip that's been flying around this podcast the last few weeks. I'm going to go with Liverpool and both teams to score at 2-1. Firmino might be worth the bet as well at 9-2. 2 for first goal scorer, I think, with Sturridge possibly missing and Coutinho definitely out.
Okay, jolly good. 4 o'clock, Everton v Manchester United. Let's throw some stats into the mix here. United have been drawn at both half-time and full-time in 5 of their last 7 Premier League games. Stats amazing. And Everton are unbeaten in their last 9 at home. They weren't particularly brilliant against Southampton last week and got beat. So what does the market make of this game, Ed?
So Everton are 5-2. The draw is 14-5, and United have shortened slightly from last night. They were 6-5. They're into 23-20. Yeah, like obviously they were decent last night. I think they're definitely improving. I thought they were very unlucky against the likes of Arsenal, Burnley, and West Ham last weekend as well. Ibras, that's coinciding obviously with Ibras back scoring goals, and Mkhitaryan is starting to look like the player they paid for last summer. Yeah, I really fancy United here 23-20 myself.
Straight Man United win bet, yeah?
For me, yeah.
How much are you going to have on? 80 quid? 80 euros?
Yeah, I might have 100.
100 euros?
100 euros, yeah.
Excellent. Are you a single man, Ed?
A single man, yeah, I am.
Well, it sounded like it's complicated Facebook status there.
It did, yeah. No, I was just thinking with that because normally if you've got another half who might tune into a podcast, you tend to be a little bit more coy about how much you're having on. But you were straight in there. The only reason I wondered whether you might have a girlfriend on the go that you're trying to impress at the moment is you missed Chelsea versus Tottenham last week. You mentioned earlier. What was going on there for you to miss a big game like that?
I'm kind of seeing a girl at the
moment. Okay, well, that's
no labels on it yet.
That's all over now. She realises you bet so recklessly. Anyway, Ed's going to have a decent bet on Manchester United. What are you going to do, Dan?
Yeah, I think Ed's not being reckless here at all. I think Man United are a really good bet. I think their performances have been improving for a while, even if their results haven't been always showing it. I would look back at the Arsenal game against a good side. They dominated that game. Played really well against West Ham twice, actually, even though they drew the first game, won the second 4-1. And the other side of the coin as well is that Everton, I was so disappointed with their performance at Southampton to concede that early on and to offer so little in response.
They really didn't up it, did they, when they needed to get the result?
Southampton played well, you give them a lot of credit, but Everton looked just poor in all areas of the pitch. They looked really shaky at the back every time the ball went into their box, and going forward, it just seemed to lack ideas and confidence as well. And they've won, I think, 1 game in 9 now, Everton. So I suppose that lack of confidence is understandable. And I think anything odds against here, United is a good bet. 2
very strong votes for Man United. Is it 3 yeses, Mark?
Yeah, I preferred it when they were 13-10 earlier on in the week, I have to say.
Thinly veiled, I'm on at 13-10.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. I tend to wait as late as possible. I'd rather be on at a slightly shorter price, team news related, but sometimes the price goes and nothing happens team news wise. I was looking at, you mentioned that half-time, full-time stat there of United, but I think that's been down to luck. I mean, they have been pummeling teams early on, and it's just not been coming for them. I was looking at United on the half-time, full-time double result here, just purely. I mean, Everton is not only against Southampton, but they've been starting games really slowly. I mean, they conceded first against Swansea. I mean, that they were completely battered at Chelsea, put up absolutely no resistance. Koeman initially looked like he would really sort them out, but
by virtue of not being Roberto Martinez.
But I mean, as the season's gone on, you just realise how average they are really, and it looks like another wasted season really in terms of them getting anywhere near sort of where they want to be. Lukaku doesn't look interested. Maybe he will be. This is a big game, so he might.
Bit of shop window.
Yeah,
action.
He might turn up for this one, but no, I think United have played a lot better in recent weeks than results suggest.
Okay, chaps. Quick question for each of you: where will Man United finish in the final standings? Ed Quigley,
4th.
Dan Childs,
5th.
Mark Langdon,
5th.
So they're not they're resurgent, but they've lost too much.
Yeah, they've got a long way to go, haven't they?
Okay, we've got a Monday night treat for you in just a mo.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. Bet £20 on either team to win in the Everton v Man U match this weekend and get a £5 free bet for every goal they score. Not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Maybe a Monday night treat is over-egging it a little bit. It is, after all, Middlesbrough versus Hull City. But it's got my best bet of the week, Middlesbrough 8-11. I think I really am impressed with what they're doing lately. I think they're looking really lively. Don't think they'll possibly go down. I like them a lot. So before the boys shoot that view down in flames, Ed Quigley, perhaps you could give us a show of betting on this one.
Yeah, so Middlesbrough 8-11. The draw is 27-10, and Hull are 4-1.
Come on, Dan.
I was with you with Middlesbrough last week, and I'm with you again. I think I've backed them already. I think they're a good bet. You look at their recent form; they've had some really tough games. They've drawn at City, drawn away to Arsenal. The only defeat in the last 5 was the 1-0 against Chelsea.
That was such a good game, wasn't it? Did you watch that?
I watched the game,
I
and
really
I thought it was
enjoyed that game.
about the right result. But they gave, Chelsea were probably the form team in the league. They gave them a good game, and I just think they're playing, better than a team that's near the bottom of the table at the moment. And Hull, on the other hand, they've got so many injuries at the moment. They lost Mbakani now to suspension, so they've only got Diamande. Adama Diamande is the only striker available now to Phelan, so they can only go one up front. Defensively, against
Dean Windass not fit, no?
Played for both clubs, didn't he? Windass?
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah, we haven't done. They played for both clubs this week. Nor will we now. You just ruined it.
I mean, the 120 minutes they played against Newcastle, they've come through, so that's a boost for them that they've got to the semi-final. But and it shouldn't affect them because the game's on the Monday, so there's enough of a break. But they gave up 32 shots against Newcastle, so that's again an example that of what a poor side they are. One league win since August was the 2-1 against Southampton, when they were so lucky really to get that win. Southampton dominated the game, so I still think they'll finish bottom. I think Middlesbrough to beat them is a great bet.
A man who's probably had 32 shots in Newcastle's Quayside a few times in his life. Mark Langdon, what do you make of this one?
I've only been to the Quayside twice, I think. Yeah, but probably 32 is about right. I think you can look at this. Middlesbrough to win to 0. Dan's mentioned Hull's problems up front, but Middlesbrough are defensively very good. Particularly in the Championship, and they're playing almost a Championship team. There's no getting away from that fact that Hull are one of the worst 3 teams in the Premier League, probably the worst. I was also looking to play it very simple in the first goal scorer market, Negredo. You look at that Middlesbrough team, they do a lot of things well, but who else is going to score their goals for them?
Ramirez?
Ramirez does add a sparkle to them, but he's more of a creator really than a goal scorer. Be interesting to see if Ramirez plays behind Negredo or on the wing. Sometimes they play 3 very solid central midfielders. I assume they'll be slightly more ambitious in this game. Negredo just takes up so much of their attacking threat. So I think he's a pretty obvious first goal scorer selection.
He's confident now, isn't he, as well, after his 2 goals?
Yeah, exactly.
As well, so,
If he doesn't, my one worry with back in Middlesbrough is if he doesn't score, then who will? So I just think you can get a bit more, bit more juice for your Middlesbrough fancy by going for Negredo.
Righty-ho, good. 2 of the lads agree with me. Am I going to get a full house here, Ed Quigley?
Yeah, it's a full house, Bruce. All right, yeah. I've exactly the same stuff that Mark just said there. On my notes here, Middlesbrough do struggle with goals. They've only scored 12. Hull are the lowest in the league with 11. So yeah, that is their only problem. They're very good defensively, I think. And I have here, Negredo at 4-1, as we just mentioned there a second ago. He's the only one who can kind of score. And as Dan said a second ago, his confidence is going to be sky high after last weekend, bagging a brace. And Middlesbrough to win to 0 at 7-4 was my other tip here. So yeah, it's a full house here.
Right, let's quickly, before we go, let's get a Yankee, a first scorer weekend Yankee for everyone to have. A little £1 first scorer Yankee. So we're going to have Negredo, and then each of you's got to pick another player for the first scorer Yankee this weekend. Dan, you go first.
Yeah, I'll go Sanchez in the Arsenal game. West Ham.
Okay, so Negredo for Middlesbrough, Sanchez for Arsenal. Mark?
I'll go, we'll keep it pretty simple, I suppose. Aguero for Man City.
Aguero for Man City, and to complete the Yankee, Ed?
Lacazette for Leon. He's in banging form at the minute.
Great stuff. Well done, lads. What are you looking forward to most about this weekend, Dan? What are you, from a personal point of view, what are you going to be doing that you're going to be really excited about? Christmas shopping?
No, I always leave that to the very last minute, really. So no, just Saturday's football, really, and betting and hoping to turn my luck around.
And what price are you to win this weekend?
on recent form, probably about 10-1, I should think.
The tide will turn. Mark, what have you got? A busy weekend?
I'm in the office on Saturday. Sunday is the day off and then a week's holiday. So
really?
Great.
Plans? You'll be down at Lakeside doing a bit of shopping,
Lakeside shopping on the Monday. The Wednesday, the huge Champions League game between Spurs and CSK Moscow.
I hear tickets are going for £2 for that game.
I'm surprised it's that much, really. If anyone wants mine, I'll probably give it away. And I've also got to just make sure. For anyone squeamish listening, I've got to make sure the vasectomies work. So I've got to go back to the hospital.
And, oh my God, you've been gelded.
Yeah, I've been gelded. Feel better for it actually, but I just need to make sure everything's everything's gone as the way that it should.
I thought you were walking like that because your wallet was so bulging from all those winners. On a pain scale, 0 being a slight pinch and 10 having your arm cut off, where would it stand?
I'm a massive wimp. 5, 6. It's all in the head, really. A lot of it's in the head. Well, I mean, it's not in the head actually. But it's a lot of it is mental. Once you get around the mental side of it, the pain's not as great as I imagined.
You're not selling it.
No, absolutely not. Ed, what about you? Are you courting? Are you going to try and develop this relationship? Are you going to get your head down and work and punt?
Well, it's the annual Christmas party tonight for Paddy Power, so we'll be going into. I'll be going into the weekend pretty hungover, I'd say.
Where does that take place? At Power
in,
Towers or
no, Dublin City Centre in a pretty big bar because the whole company's going this year, so it's going to be massive.
And all those Betfair people.
All the Betfair people are invited too, I think.
Will there be a fight? Betfair v Paddy Power.
I wouldn't be a massive price in that.
Excellent. And what's the budget? Is it free drink all night, or do you get
it's free drink? It's free drink for 5 hours, I think. They're doing free drink from 7 to 12, but hopefully we can shake it up for more after,
Oh, well, good luck with that one, mate. Hope the weekend goes well. Hope your weekend goes well and you back plenty of winners on what the lads have said. Don't forget we're on iTunes, so do go on and rate us on that. And we're back next Thursday with another football postcast.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power. Their new iPhone app is easier than the verdict at a Blatter hearing, so download it now.